I'm Maya from the Graduate School of Life Science, and I'll be presenting why I think you should join Nitobe College. And I am saying that of my own free will, and I was not forced to say that. So a little bit about me is I'm from Manila in the Philippines, and I was a first year master's student when I took Nitobe, but now I'm a second year in the Graduate School of Life Sciences in the Department of Behavioral Neurobiology. And my research is about how we make decisions, basically, in non-scientific terms. Um, in and I actually use the fly as a model organism, so that's a fly brain over there. Like those are specific neurons. The fly brain. Just thought that was cool. In my free time, I like to play video games and read and take naps in different places in the university. I also have the world's cutest dog ever. Dale disagrees because he has a different dog, but mine is better. Um, so that's a bit about me. So in terms of why I chose to join Nitobe College, besides that I had to, or
No,
I,
don't put it like that.
no, let's say I had to join, but I would have joined anyway. And there is a reason that I took the extra classes that I wasn't required to join. And this is why. So first, it's a good opportunity to meet a diverse community of people. So not only are we people from different cultures, but also from different academic backgrounds in different fields of research and study. The second point was that I wanted to do something outside the lab because I think if you do research, you can get kind of caught up in only thinking about your research, and you don't ever see other people who aren't in your field. And this it's good to work hard on your research, but it can also become a limitation in some senses that you don't develop other skills that might be necessary and that can make you a more well-rounded student. And finally, I wanted to improve the quote-unquote soft skills, like collaboration and communication, as well as presentation skills. In saying that, though, there are some challenges that I faced when first entering Nitobe College. So first is time management. So Nitobe does take about 4 hours a week, three and a half,
Well, it's three hours plus stuff.
3 hours of class
15 minutes
time.
break, but then you walk from science building. Yeah, maybe about.
So about 4 hours.
By the time you get there, if you including the walking time between the crossing.
Yes. So 4 hours. It takes about 4 hours per week. And if you don't finish all your work in class because you were talking too much, then you have to take the work home. Speaking from experience, but you don't have to. That's the thing. If you manage your time better than I did, you don't have to bring anything home. But basically, you kind of have to manage the Nitobe classes along with your other commitments as a research student and maybe time for like touching grass and having hobbies. The second thing that was challenging for me is I'm an introverted person, which people don't believe because I really like talking. But I like talking to people I already know. So if when I joined Itobe, it was a room full of people that I had never met before. And that was challenging for me. I also don't like public speaking. So I was doing breathing exercises over there before I did this. Also, I have this like strong aversion to confrontation, um, which means that if I disagree with someone or their idea, I have a difficult time expressing that disagreement because I like to keep the peace, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. But um, it's important to think of these challenges not as roadblocks, but rather opportunities to grow. So by the end of Nitobe, I was better at managing my time. I definitely was. And um, I was talking. I was giving presentations like it was nobody's business. So these are things that might deter you from joining, but they're actually, Nitobe is actually a really good and safe environment for you to confront the things that are difficult for you and that helps you kind of grow as a person and as a student. So some of the key things, I'm going to talk now about some of the key things that I took away from Nitobe or the things that I really valued about the classes. So first was intercultural communication. You saw a video of this a while ago. It looks deeply unserious, but it was a really, really fun activity about trying to kind of bridge gaps between cultures, and that must, just because you don't understand something from one culture, it doesn't prevent you from trying and from being able to work with people anyways, not anyways, but huh. Rather than letting differences in culture kind of stop you from reaching out to other people, you learn how to respect and you learn how to respect those differences and actually use them for very fruitful collaborations and fruitful discussions. We also had a really interesting lecture that I quite enjoyed participating in about cultural norms versus ethical norms. Because sometimes it's very difficult to kind of draw the line between, oh, this is normal in our culture, when it could be something that's actively hurting another person. And so we had a special lecture about from a guest lecturer about how we can kind of find that balance between cultural norms and ethical norms. And that was a highlight of the pre-program for me. Is that pre-program? Yeah. Okay. So I really enjoyed this part. Second was project planning. So this is something that you can use even for your research. For example, I'm a planner. I like planning. I have a planner, actually a notebook version. But we were introduced to different ways that you can use the technology that's available now to work to plan projects, especially collaborative ones. Um, when you're working in these intercultural groups, with people of different backgrounds, you might have different ideas. And part of the project plan, part of learning how to plan projects in these kinds of settings is knowing, um, is being able to take everyone's ideas into account. And also developing kind of leadership skills. So if there are people in your group who are more quiet or people who tend to take up the whole conversation, it's learning how to find the balance where everyone feels respected and feels heard. Because when you're planning like a big project, right, it's not just about the final outcome, but also about making the people who are involved feel like it's their project as well, and not just yours because you like to talk a lot. So we used a software called Miro Board, where all the members from of the group could contribute to different kind of modules or different parts. And because we were able to see all of our ideas in one place, it made it really easy for us to discuss any potential ideas that we had or any kind of fixes we wanted to make. And a really big part of Nitobe is the presentations. Um, for every kind of project that we did, we had presentations where where we presented like, the project that we made, and how our different backgrounds contributed to the project. Um, and I think one of the best parts about the presentations is that you're encouraged to actively listen rather than kind of just sitting there. You're encouraged to ask questions. You're encouraged to politely point out any issues you might have with with the um, with the project that someone else made, and really work towards making it better. So you don't just sit there and kind of watch with your eyes glazed over, but you're listening and you're kind of internalizing what they're saying and you analyze it for yourself, whether you think it would work. And then you can kind of, you have very good discussions with people, I think, during the presentations. Um, so why do I recommend joining? So there's a diverse community. You'll meet people of different backgrounds, and you might not agree with them all of the time, but this kind of pushes you and challenges you to rethink how you see the world and kind of reach out to other people, even though you might have different ideas or different values. Also, I think that having such a diverse community in terms of also academic background has been really helpful because you learn how those different experiences can actually be advantages for you for planning projects. Because well, that's the last point. I'll get to that later. You also learn a lot about you also have learn a lot about professional skills. So as I said earlier, there was presentation skills, but also um, kind of trying to analyze who this project could be good for, who will be affected by it, and what good can come out of your own actions. And that's really important to think about. Even in your own research, you need to be thinking about who is going to be affected by this and what good can you bring to the rest of the world. Hopefully, you are thinking about that. And finally, as I said earlier, you do get new perspectives on things because everyone comes from a different place. Everyone comes from a different background. Um, you can approach the same problem in very different ways, and those are interesting perspectives that maybe you haven't considered before, and that can widen your worldview, and it makes you a more well-rounded researcher overall, in my opinion. So yes, that's all. Thank you.